Welcome to Las Vegas, Nevada. This is Trunkhead with Trunkhead Gaming. Today is the final in-depth series I have planned. This is Humans in Depth. If you follow my channel on, you know I played a lot of humans. Gone through a really strong human phase. I think I played about 400 games with humans lately. And I'm gonna go over what they think. They are like I said, we in this series we assume that you know what you're doing a little bit. You just have the basic grasp of the game down. You're not. This is not a tutorial on how to play Blood Bowl. It's a tutorial on how to play humans. It is not the only way to play humans. And now getting into this, humans are extraordinarily versatile and flexible, and there's a lot of different ways. This is the way that I play humans, and I've been fairly successful with them. So I'm just want to share it, and then you guys can go from there. So humans, the overall concept is that they're similar to Dark Elves, as in they're a hybrid team. They can do what your opponent can't do. So if your opponent is super bashy but not very agile or fast, you can play that game. If you're playing an agility team or a fast team, then you can kind of pound ground a little bit because you can hit pretty hard. So you kind of do everything, but that means you're not really the master of anything. So you got to be careful about that. You can't you can't lean on the one weakness of humans is they have nothing to lean on. So like when you're dark elves, for instance, or any kind of elf, you can always dodge away and have something to lean on. You always have your agility and your speed. And you can always fall back on that when you're a bash team or orc team. You can be like I'm gonna stay on the pitch. I'm gonna stick to the pitch. I'm gonna hurt people. When you're humans, you don't have that to fall back on. When things go bad with humans, there's no way to there's nothing I can go back to and say like I can count on this to kind of rebuild and get my momentum back. That's not what happens with humans. When things go bad, things go bad. But when things go good, man, it's a beautiful thing to watch. They are the third fastest team in the game. Only Skaven and Witch Elf or Wood Elves right currently are faster than these guys. Wicked fast. You really need to leverage that speed. They're fast, but they're not agile, so you need to be careful about that. But they are very, very fast, and so you can use that to reposition yourself pretty quickly, which is one of the real strengths of humans that they kind of have over most other teams. And the two teams that are faster than them, they can out hit. So generally, generally we've all been pounded by a Skaven team with a Claw, Mighty Blow, Storm Vermin. But generally, the teams that are faster than them, they can out hit everybody else. You should always have great positioning with humans, and they're a good team to learn positioning with because you can kind of get where you need to be. They're very forgiving in that one regard. You can take a punch, but you can't tank. Just like with like a Dark Elves, you have the same army of AV8. Any AV8 team, you should not be standing in a fight. You're gonna lose eventually to a bash team. You hit like a truck sometimes because of these four blitzers right in front. These guys have strength access, so sometimes you can hit really hard, and of course the ogre, they can hit really, really hard, but not reliably. They don't have claw, so yeah, you can hit like a truck, but there's games where you won't hurt anybody, and it's really frustrating. Great fowlers. These little linemen back here, they are some of the best fowlers in the game. They're only 50,000 pieces. They have good stat lines. They're 6'3", 3'8". Um, you can just throw you can load up on. You can kind of treat them like zombies almost. Just load up on linemen and then start hurting people. They're a little bit faster though. Easy to rebuild because you have four blitzers and up to four catchers and many linemen. They're a pretty easy team to rebuild. Even the ogre, losing the ogre, which can suck. It depends on what skills that ogre had. And some coaches say the ogre is not essential. They are wrong, but you can rebuild with the rookie ogre. So they're flexible. They can kind of stick around. Like your team will always kind of be middle of the pack, at least usually, because you can sustain losses pretty well. You lose a stud blitzer, so what? You have another one down the road. They're good at any TV. They're good at low. They're really good at low TV. One of the better starting teams actually because of all the block and dodge they start out with. They start out with a lot of skills. They're really good at low TV. They're good at mid TV. They're even good at high TV. So they're just flexible in that regard. They're competitive almost any league. And then the number one thing you need to know when you're building your human team is get guard. You need to get guard everywhere. You don't want to lose the guard game. On offense, you want to use your speed. So first thing you do, as always, stay out of the scrum. It's a little harder to stay out of the scrum with humans because you don't have the maneuverability of dark elves. For instance, you can't just dodge away. You need to kind of stay and really plan out your blocks and your attacks to free up people. You don't want to give any free hits on AV8 ever, but you can't really get away either. So you really need to plan out. And be very careful about clearing guys off of people, using your blitz to clear an important piece or whatever so that you're not making the dodges. You have dodge skills. You'll get doubles on dodge skills. Your cut to start dodge, but your AG3, it is not good to count on dodge because 1 in 9. One lesson you'll learn as humans is that the 1 in 9 is for real, and you will do it all the time, and usually when it hurts the most. Almost inevitably, when you really need, like when you have your ball carrier's got the ball, Of course, he's the ball carrier. Ball carrier's sitting out there. He's marked. All he needs to do is a 1 and 9. He can go score and win the game, and he'll fail that 1 and 9 every single time. So you really need to be careful with humans about clearing your pieces off, not dodging when you can, and making sure that they support each other. Um, which is hard because you're fast, so you kind of want to spread out at the same time. So you really need to be cognizant of the fact that you need to keep your guys close enough together where they can support each other and clear each other off the blocks. So on offense, stay out of the scrum as much as you can. You want to hit where you want to hit, and you want to hit it hard. But because they are so fast, when you're kind of you can kind of sit back and you can wait till you hit a hole, and when you create a hole on one side or the other, even in the middle, you can hit that hole super hard. All you got to do is get a little window, and everybody is so fast that you can flood your team through that hole, and all of a sudden the defense is in trouble because you can hit that hole wicked hard. So you go left and right. You kind of try to make a hole. You do a scrum over here and you scrum over here. As soon as you punch over, as soon as he overcommits one way, boom, you hit it, and you have to hit it hard because you're humans and you're fast, and that's what you're good at. And you can score from deep out because these guys are move 8, your blitzers are move 7. Like you have the ability, you even have a thrower to throw the ball. You have the ability to score from deep out. And you're gonna have to use that sometimes because sometimes it can be hard for your offense to advance. But like I said, all they gotta do is make a hole and then you're through. On defense, you need to kind of do an elf screen. The difference with a human screen to an elf screen is when they come up and they step up on you, when they base your elf screen essentially, you can't really get away. I mean, you can if it's a super bashy team and you don't want to sit there and take the punches, then it's better to take the 3+ dodge and just take a mighty blow hit because the ground doesn't have mighty blow if you fail your dodge. But the one difference of a human screen is an L screen is when they come up and they base you, if you have enough guard, which you should as a human team, you can kind of fight back the screen and push him back. He needs to commit his whole team to the elf screen to do that, and once he does that, you move around with your catchers and you attack the cage from behind and try, especially if he leaves a cage corner to attack the front, you kind of go around the corner. So you can kind of stand your ground with humans, and you need to. It's a hard skill to learn when to stand your ground and when to back up. But because you have so much guard, when he bases your human screen, you kind of fight back a little bit. You can't cage dive with humans unless you get some crazy stat ups. So what I would suggest is you attack a cage corner, one cage corner, and start basing this ball carrier. And once he does that, he'll start to panic, and then he'll misshape his cage for you and give you opportunities later. The only guy who can really cage dive is the ogre if he gets break tackle, and then he's got a 50-50 chance. But it's a bonehead. Like you got to roll the bonehead roll. You have to roll the break tackle roll, which is a 4+, and then of course you got to hit him, and you don't usually have blocks. So it's not a reliable cage dive. It is a desperate times for desperate measures cage dive, or I have completely stopped his drive. I have nothing else to do. Let's go ahead and see if I can cage dive. So you're attacking cage corners, and you're trying to make him change his defense to something that's unsafe. Don't get trapped. Don't get trapped. Your speed is your asset. You're not agile though, so if he traps you in a corner, then you can't use your speed to your advantage anymore, and you're in trouble. If he's just pounding you and going through you, I suggest you get out of the way. Get out of the way and attack him from behind, attack him from the side, and see if you can get him to score faster. You can two-turn reliably as humans because you're so fucking fast, especially if he sets up his defense incorrectly. So if you're losing the bash game and he's just beating the piss out of you, get out of the way, man. Don't get trapped. Get over to the side. Attack the loose guys. Step on them with your dirty players. Do what you got to do. Let him score, but try to make him put pressure on him and make him score faster so that you can equalize. That is the basic defensive strategy. And defense with humans can be good, can be easy in the regard that you're so fast you can reposition. He is really hard for another team to get in front of you get you out of position, but it's also really easy to get trapped. Because of your AG3 and your AV8. So getting trapped is the one thing you really got to be cognizant of and careful of when you're humans. We're going to go into the starting roster. There is a lot of flexibility in humans. There are a lot of different styles of human starting rosters. And if you ever watch humans like on stream or anything, you'll see that lots of people do it differently. Um, I'm gonna go through a couple of them. I'm gonna start with the one that I personally use, and I use it invariably. I have tried a bunch of different ones. This is the one that I like the most. So I'm gonna start with the essentials. Um, these are essentials. The ogre. The ogre is not optional. You will hear some coaches tell you that it is optional, that it's not really important because he's not reliable. He can be a pain in the ass. All of that's true, but you cannot play a bash team without an ogre. They will just push you around and you will lose. The ogre is essential. The only time I would ever suggest making a lineup without an ogre is I would do it if I was in an all like elf team or a really super agile league where everybody's playing AV8 teams that don't bash very hard. There's not a lot of claw. Then you can go ahead and play you can play without the ogre at that point. Otherwise, the ogre is not optional if you're playing on an open ladder or any kind of open system. Go ahead and get the ogre. And to be honest, every league, because the game is just designed with more bash teams than there is anything else, you need the ogre. So just get the ogre. You need him, and we'll touch real. Actually, I'm gonna talk about the ogre real fast out of order because there's not a lot to talk about the build order with him. His first normal skill is guard. Boom. His second normal skill, you're either gonna get stand firm or break tackle. I personally go break tackle because he's movement 5 and because he is so essential to the to where the human defense, like he needs to be where the action is, and you don't want him tied up with a zombie. So I always go break tackle with him next, so I can break away on a 2+ and get away. Plus you can see that cage dive option. You're not going to cage dive very often, but with this particular piece, like it's not a Croxagore. A Croxagore is better with stand firm. This is an ogre. It's a human ogre, and it fit into the human style that I play. Break tackle is 100% the way to go, and then I go stand firm. Block or doubles, of course, you get block without question. If you get another doubles, you get pro. If you get double 12, if you get 12s, double sixes, and you're deciding between plus strength or plus or block, get the plus strength because big guys are strength 5. So if you're strength 6, a big guy needs the opposing big guy needs 2 assists just to hit your ogre. Your ogre is not going to go down very often. The block is more reliable, but you will crush people with strength 6. You automatically have 2 die on the opposing big guy. It makes a huge difference. Get the strength first, and then if you another double, then you get block. Skip agility, you don't need it unless you for some reason want to think you want to score with your ogre. For instance, if you're playing the huge Jackman Memorial Cup, I would take the agility because you want to score with your big guy, but that is an extraordinarily rare case. Do not take the agility, and you don't need the armor value. You don't really need the movement, so skip all that stuff. If you have break tackle already as a third skill, if you haven't recycled him by your third skill, and you wanted to, if you have guard, break tackle, and you get movement, then movement's not so bad right then. But usually, if you have 3 skills and you haven't gotten your double by then you're just gonna go ahead and fire him and start over because you really want to get a double or a strength on this guy. So the ogre is not optional in the starting lineup. The other not optional pieces are these 4 blitzers. You absolutely need to have them in every single build. Do not skimp on them. They are your best piece. Every build you have will have 4 blitzers. And then you start to get into variety. Oh, well, the other non-optional thing is 3 rerolls. Humans start with 3 rerolls. You can make a case for starting with only 2 rerolls because you have the sure hands and you have catches and you have dodge. You have a lot of built-in skills. But I absolutely would start with 3 rerolls. They're cheap. They're a way to go. The pieces are cheap enough that you can build almost any build you need can have 3 rerolls. So make sure you do that. Thrower, you need at least 1 thrower. You don't need one, so this is why you start getting options. You should have 1 thrower. They're only 20,000 more than a lineman. They have the same stats as lineman, but they come with sure hands and pass. I think the pass really adds some kind of dynamic to the thrower. I think it's important you have at least 1. You can start with 2 if you want to go with a more running style offense, where you're just going to kind of ground and pound and you're going to kind of play a bashy style. Then you should go with 2 throwers so you can have reliability on picking up the ball and moving the ball. Catchers, you can start with 0, 1, or 2. I have started with 3. It's more of a hindrance than a help. I think catchers are essential to a human team, and there are builds where you only get 0, 1, 0 or 1 the whole entire time. If you go no catchers, you are basically playing an orc team that's just a little bit faster with less armor, and less strength access. So you're a bash team that can't stick to the field, and you're a bash team that can't bash as well. If you're not playing catchers, I think catchers are the one piece that really makes the humans unique. They're move 8, so they're wicked fast. They are strength 2, so you gotta be careful how you use them, and it takes a little while getting used to these guys. But you really need this speed because speed is one thing humans are good at. I highly suggest you start with 2 catchers. They will change your life, man. They're good. They're really good. Plus, you have a thrower who can then throw the ball to somebody because they come with the catch skill. And dodge is super strong. Super strong starting skill because nobody's got tackle. You can mark people with this. They do get 2 dies, but they need to POW you. Unless you're marking a block player, which you shouldn't be doing. And then from there, so 0, 1, or 2 catchers, it's up to you. I start with 2. I think you need that speed threat. It's really good at low levels, super good at low levels. And then you fill out the rest of your roster with linemen. So there's a bunch of different ways, but that is the way. This is what I start with. Like I said, the other thing you'll see is this guy will be gone. You'll run 2 catchers and no thrower, or 2 throwers and no catchers, excuse me, or 1 thrower, 1 catcher, and extra lineman. It depends on how bashy you want to be. Humans are not a bash team. People Often when they're playing humans, they think they're bashy because of their blitzers, which we'll start talking on in a second. Um, because you have strength access and you have mighty blow and you have guard and whatnot. Yeah, you need to be able to do everything as humans. You have to be able to play all styles of the game because otherwise you'll come up against a team that's just going to be better than you at something and you don't have the counter to them. So you need to be able to counter everybody. That is the strength of the humans. And that is an ugly face right there. Look at that guy's face. All right. So let's get into the Blitzer. The Blitzer has general and strength access, of course. And so he is actually, like I said, this is your best player. He's move 7, which is super important on humans. You want to make sure you're scoring early and often with these guys, and we'll go into who's for first in a little bit. You don't really need doubles with humans, with human blitzers, because their strength access. Strength access pieces are awesome. There's 3 skills I call the Holy Trinity, and if you got these 3 skills on every single blitzer, you would be 100% fine, and you could play your game very TV efficient at that point, and you're solid, and you can do everything you need to do. You need Mighty Blow, you need Guard, you need Tackle, in any order. In any order. My very first blitzer I get the Mighty Blow first, and then I usually go Guard, Guard, Guard for the next 3. And then my mighty blow guy gets tackle next, so I have tackle. And then after the guard, 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 I'll mix in whether I need tackle or mighty blow. Um, but yeah, so mighty blow, guard, and tackle. Guard is so important to humans, especially early when nobody has guard. Guard makes a huge difference. So your first guy, he gets mighty blow because then he can kind of level on his own because you're gonna blitz with him every single time that you can. You're gonna hit with him as often as you can, and then you're gonna go ahead and get the next 3 guys are gonna get guard. The only way I would do the only variance on that I would do is if I would get my second blitzer or my third blitzer mighty blow first if I rolled doubles on one of my catchers and got guard there, or one of my linemen and got guard there. If I if I have guard somewhere else to make up for the lack of guard, then I would get 2 hitters on my mighty blow guys, and eventually they're all gonna get mighty blow. But mighty blow first, and the next 3 guys get guard first, and then mix in your tackle and your mighty blow. Mix those up, and that's it. This guy's basically done. He's super TV efficient. He's easy to replace. He does everything you need to do. If you get doubles, it's okay to skip doubles on the humans, on human blitzers. You don't really super need it. However, you are already going to carry it. If well, the way I play, I eventually want 3 catchers. I play a heavy dodge game, so it's okay to get dodge. If you get dodge, you can go dodge, guard, stand firm, and that's called a blodge firm with guard. Awesome piece. If you get usually if I get guard on my or dodge on my very first skill up and I have a blodger right away, I always go down that road. I always go guard and then stand firm next and blodge firm, and that guy's fucking done and he's amazing. If you get dodge and you get a second double for your next skill, then you get diving tackle. And this guy is now blodge diving tackle, and he is amazing. And then you give him stand firm, and then he can stick to a player, and that player is not going anywhere. The way people counter diving tackle is that they just blitz them off or move them. If you got stand firm, you're not movable. So if I get a second double, it's diving tackle. The only other double I would really take is I would take jump up on my killer blitzer, and I'm gonna go into the killer blitzer right now. So your very first guy, he gets mighty blow, right? And then you get tackle or piling on, depending on if you have tackle elsewhere. If you have a couple tackle pieces, go piling on first. If you don't, I highly suggest, and I never variance really. I go mighty blow and tackle because then you can hit those gutter runners and those wood elves and the dodge pieces early on are usually low. They're usually low strength and they're low armor. And when you got mighty blow and tackle, you're just pounding them. So I go mighty blow, I go tackle, I go piling on, and that's my killer. And the only double I would take in that train is jump up. For reasons I specified before when I was talking about the white, I would only take jump up. And I would not get any other doubles on him because then he's expensive and he's more expensive than needs to be to fill his role. Jump up is good after you got piling on. Don't get jump up before piling on. You'll see people say, well, take the double because it's there. Jump up is not very strong if you don't have piling on because he's not going to be on his face enough to make jump up really useful. So I would not take jump up. I would skip the doubles until I had the mighty blow, tackle, piling on. I had those 3. Or if I went mighty blow piling on first, then I could take tack or jump up here. I would skip dodge. I'd skip everything else. And then pro. Pro is awesome on killers because of it. You want it like same reason as the white. Like these are almost exactly the same as the white. Same reason as the white. You want to be able to reroll, greed reroll those things without using a team reroll. Your pushes into hopefully things. Take strength. Take agility. Don't take agility on your killer. On all other pieces, take on your other ones. On your utility guys, take your AG. AG human blitzers are amazing. Um, there is one issue with AG on strength access pieces on blitzers, which it's kind of a problem. People take it. You can then go guard of dodge. What I do is I put the agility in there and make him AG4, and then just keep building him the way I was before. Now he's just a little bit better at it. Because you have strength access, you don't have agility access to take advantage of that agility 4. Um, the agility 4 is super strong on its own, so you take it absolutely, except for on your killer. And then otherwise you just kind of build like you normally would, except for he's just a little bit better at it because he can move around. If you get dodge when you have AG4, then you're golden, man. You're basically an elf at that point. You're actually exactly you're dark elf blitzer at that point, but with strength access. So then you gotta be flexible. On move, take the use the double fives for doubles if you need it. For instance, if you have your killer, maybe you want to take the jump up. I would probably take the movement there still, because move 8 is so strong on throwers. Um, yeah, that you really got to be flexible with your humans. Do you need that extra? You already have. I almost always skip movement on human blitzers because their normal access skills are so strong. Um, and I'm already fast enough with my catchers. But if every once in a while I'll take it if it fits into the theme of my team and where my team is developed at. Early on, I would probably skip it because guard and mighty blow are so strong early on. The blitzer, you have to be flexible on it. So in general, your first guideline is it's kind of like the Dark Elf Blitzer where you have to be flexible, but your guideline is your first guy should be your killer. Your next 3 guys should be guard first, and then make your tackle mighty blows, and then take the doubles as you need. That is the Blitzer. That is the most important piece to the human squad. When you're developing your team, try to get these guys touchdowns first. Try to get them all at least 1 skill as fast as possible. Because when you get the mighty blow guy first, and he'll kind of level on his own. Then you want to get the guard, get the guard, get the guard. Um, these catches will kind of level on their own. They'll score touchdowns faster because they're harassing the ball and they're downfield. And then when you absolutely need to win the game and your thrower has a ball and he's going to throw it to a catcher, he's not going to throw it to a blitzer because you're out of rerolls or whatever. These guys will naturally get their touchdowns. So when you are dictating when you have a chance to dictate where a touchdown goes, put it on a blitzer. But when you need to score, use catcher. The thrower. The thrower. So there are basically 2 builds for your thrower, and it depends on how you built your team. There's a utility and there's a distributor. If you're running my build where you run 1 thrower and then 3 catchers, eventually 2 to 3 catchers, then you make him a distributor. If you're running a 0 to 1 catcher build, then or you have 1 or 2 throwers, then you need to do more of a utility build. I'm going to go into the utility build first because I don't use it that often, but it is the more popular of the 2. If you utility build, you basically have the same stat line as a blocker. The first skill you get is block, and now he's good on offense and defense, which is super strong because you basically want that extra block on defense. If you're running a distributor, you eventually don't want to use your thrower on defense. But when you're running a utility thrower, you go ahead and use him on defense as well because then you can scoop up loose balls. So block first. My next skill after block is kickoff return. That makes me a little more reliable. Someplace I can get kickoff return. I think it's a nice skill to have. Kick is really strong on humans because kick is hard to fit in on a human team. It's really strong on humans, but because you have so many positionals as a human, if you got all your blitzers and you're running 2 to 3 catchers and a thrower and an ogre, you can have up to 8 positionals. You can have up to 9 positionals on a team. You honestly could have up to 10 positionals on a team, but you don't. You're usually running 8 positionals on a team, which means you have all your linemen are on the line of scrimmage, which leaves you no place to put kick because you guys all need skills. But if you're running a utility build where you're only running 0 to 1 catchers, you can either put a lineman with kick or you can put kick on the thrower because where else are you going to put it? It's fine. He doesn't really need anything else because block is all he really needs. You can get him tackle, you can get him fend, you can do all that stuff. When you get super late, go ahead and give him accurate so he has at least somewhat of a passing. His pass is a little bit stronger, but you're not really passing with him. It's just more of a little more utility. Doubles for the utility piece, you get dodge. He's making him a blodger. That's it. Take the strength, take the agility. Agility is really great on throwers. Move, I would not take the move because move 6, move 7 isn't that big of a deal, and you're fast enough other places. I would use the double fives for doubles, and I would probably skip the move, but you can take it if you want. You're basically building him as a lineman at that point, so he's an alright piece, man. He's pretty good. He's a good lineman. Like I said, he's only $20,000 for 20,000 pieces. He's pretty efficient. So a lineman is 50. This thrower is 70, but he comes with these 2 skills. So these are basically half price. You get 2 skills for the price of 1. And Sure Hands is really, really good on humans. Automatic rerolls for AG3, for anything AG3 is so good. So these are really good skills to have. And that is a utility piece. When I am building my throwers, I build them as distributors. And I try to pass as early and as often as possible. Like if I'm receiving the ball and I'm back here, I'll try to pass at least once every drive when the ball is safe. So I start because he'll level pretty quick on his own. You don't need to score with him. He'll just because you'll be passing all the time. So if you're gonna make a distributor, your very first skill, your very first normal skill is accurate because you're gonna want to throw the ball as often as possible. Your very next skill is dump off. The reason dump off is so strong on humans, if you're running 2 to 3 catches, is you have people that can easily catch the ball. One of the reasons that the dump off is such a frowned upon skill is because when you throw the ball, somebody has to catch it. Humans, if you run heavy throwers like I do, you have 2 to 3 pieces on the pitch who have the catch skill, so catching it is not really a problem. I mean, you're gonna want a 9 all the time, and so what you do is humans get used to it. But dump off is so strong because then when he gets through, because people say, well, you shouldn't use dump off because if people are hitting your thrower, then you're doing it wrong. You're not playing well. That's incorrect, man. You have an opponent. There's dice in the game. Your thrower will get hit eventually at some point. And being able to keep that ball secure with dump off, and you get a fucking SPP point because you're just doing a pass. So accurate and then dump off, and then after dump off, I get nerves of steel so that when I got a guy in my face, if I have more than one in my face, he can always just go ahead and do it. If you've seen any of my games, you know that I put all my throwers go accurate, dump off, nerves of steel, and you've seen what it does to people. They plus usually because they don't even realize that dump off is there. It's such a rarely seen skill that they'll attack the guy and then all of a sudden the ball's gone and then you can see them. They just kind of stop and they're like, I don't know what to do now because now the ball is over in this guy's hand and I've used all my pieces to attack the thrower. After that, you can get safe throw. You can get block. You can do whatever. If you get doubles on your distributor, strong arm. Now, if you get once you get strong arm, you have a legit passing game, man, because you basically have +2 to pass. You can throw long bombs on 4 pluses, and you got automatic reroll, so it's a 75% chance to throw a long bomb. Your offense gets super dynamic when you get a strong arm thrower. So double strong arm, and that's the only double you really need. Strength, I would skip. Agility, I would absolutely take 100%. If you get strength and you haven't gone too far, if your first skill is strength, it's okay to take the strength, because then you go ahead and build block and you make him a runner at that point. You don't really distribute them. But when you already have accurate and dump off and whatever, you don't really need strength. It's just bloat at that point because you're not really going to hit with them because you're not really going to carry block unless you're going to change your build, and then it becomes this weird like in between piece. So I would skip strength, agility absolutely take because if you get AG4 and then you have strong arm and accurate, now your long bombs are on 3+, which is like 89% because of your automatic reroll. Move, I probably wouldn't take the move. I would take the doubles for sure. The double fives I would absolutely take. The doubles instead, and move I wouldn't really take. So that is the thrower. I love the dump off build. It does so much for the game. It's unbelievable. And I kind of feel like I'm the only person doing that out there. But you've seen me use it, and you've seen other people kind of pick it up. Mistays picked it up for his Bretts. You kind of hear the people talking about it now. I never saw it before. Nobody ever considered it. You won't find it in any guide anywhere. That's a piece. Catchers are what make human teams dangerous. They're the move A. You need this speed. The more catches you have, the faster you are. You're also the weaker you are because they're strength 2. And people complain about them being strength 2 all the time. But they're not that expensive a piece. They're only, what, $70,000? Yeah, they're 70. So they're not that expensive. They're easy to replace. They start with dodge, they start with catch. I'm okay with the strength 2. They can do what they need to do with strength 2. You just kind of got to be cognizant of the fact that when you give up hits on these guys, your opponent's automatically going to get 2 die. And sometimes the nice part is because they look a lot alike on the field, team players all kind of look a lot alike, people don't realize it's a catcher, and they'll go assist a piece that doesn't need an assist on a catcher. And they would have got 2 dives without. The speed really makes a huge difference. Having as many of these guys on the field, I like to run 3 catchers, basically on offense and defense, because the speed makes such a huge difference. Like I said, if you're gonna do your human screen and they're gonna crash into your screen, you use these guys to run around and get the back. On offense, you can score from deep out. You can be basically 1 or 2 squares in and score. It's a huge advantage of the human catcher. You can throw the ball to them and synergize as well with the thrower, of course, because they come with catch. Don't pigeon them whole into one role. One of the big mistakes that you see with people who on their human catchers, especially when they're first starting humans, is like, this guy's move 8. This guy has dodge and catch. I'm going to make him a scorer. I'm just going to give him score skills. I'm going to give him sprint and sure feet and do all that stuff. I'm going to make him a... Don't do that. These pieces they already are good at scoring. They're already fast enough. They can already do all that stuff. You want to use them so they fill multiple roles, especially if you're going to run heavy catchers like I do. They need to be able to do more than just score. They need to be able to mark. They need to be able to attack the ball. They need to be able to do all kinds of stuff. So I built two catchers. Both of my first two catchers generally will be sackers. Sometimes I'll build a marker second, but there's sackers, markers, and there's one turners. Um, so let's go with a sacker first because it's the most important, I think. Your first normal skill is wrestle, and then your next skill is strip ball, and that is pretty much what you need for these guys. If you get a third skill, and these guys often get to third skills, they're pretty because you score with them pretty quick, even with wrestle. So wrestle, tag, or wrestle, strip ball, and then dauntless, because dauntless lets them hit the ball. If you get a solo hit on a ball carrier with wrestle, strip ball, and dauntless, you're one dying. Only a skull ruins you. Everything else, you get the ball out. So you're what 90%, 89% to get the ball out if you have wrestle, strip ball, and tackle. Unless he's got sure hands, and then you're 50% to the ball out because a POW, if defender stumbles or both down, you get the ball out. Awesome pieces because they're so fast. They can get behind. They can get those hits on the ball carriers that people do not expect. Wrestle, strip ball, dauntless, and if you happen to get to fourth skill, tackle. You don't usually see human teams get that far with their guys. Every once in a while, but that's an awesome piece. Doubles. Doubles for all catchers, regardless of build, where they are, get guard. You cannot lose the guard game as humans because you're only strength 3 and you have no strength 4 pieces anywhere. You have no AV9 anywhere. You absolutely 100% without a doubt need guard. So every double outside of human blitzers who get guards on normals, every double needs to go to guard. Every piece, with the exception of the thrower. Get guard. So if you get a double on this guy, it doesn't matter where. If he's a sacker, if he's a marker, whatever, you get a double, get guard. Guard will make your a guard on. If it's your first skill, get guard. If your first skill is a guard, then you're gonna kind of go down. You want to go down the marker road instead of the sacking road, because wrestle and guard don't synergize very well. But wrestle and guard is better than not having guard. So if you get wrestle and he's gonna be your sacker, and your next skill is a double, take the double, take the guard, get the guard. I don't know if I can say it enough. Get the guard. Stat ups, take all stat ups on human catchers. If you get double fives, I would take the movement over their guard because AV9 or move 9 is so strong, you can then become a really nasty one turner. If I already have one or two AV9 pieces or move 9 pieces, which it's weird. For some reason, catchers seem to roll move all the time. Then go ahead and take the guard instead. Strength is really solid because now you don't even need Dauntless. And now he's basically, once you get strength, he turns into a faster blitzer because he has the same stat line as a blitzer. So he's move 8. He's move 8, he's still armor 8, now he's strength 3, agility 3. Strength is super strong on catchers. Agility, of course, agility 4 makes the one turning easy, way easier because you can get to the pick of fence. Agility 4 catchers are like, I mean, they feel like AG5 elves to you. They're amazing, man. They're absolutely amazing. Take all the setups. The other basic skill build for catchers that I do is the marker. And for a marking piece, you go block first, so you have a blodger, and then you go sidestep, because that way he can stick to where he needs to stick, and then you go diving tackle. And then you're pretty much set, man. That's all he really needs. Yeah, you can go diving tackle. You go diving tackle. So the reason you go diving tackle, if you happen to get to the fourth skill again, you don't usually put tackle on your catchers until way late. But diving tackle is a great combination because he doesn't get the automatic reroll for the diving tackle. Which means he has to burn a team reroll to do it, and it's really nasty. And then the sidestep lets him stay on the piece. Also, when you get block sidestep, he's also a great ball carrier at that point. These guys, markers tend to score faster than sackers because when you absolutely need to score a touchdown, you throw it to the guy with blodge because he stays on his feet on a both down as opposed to wrestling a guy down, and the sidestep, and he'll score. These guys level really fast. Devils get guard, 100% get guard, get guard, get guard. Stat ups, take all stat ups for the same reasons as the other player. On fives, on this particular piece, on the marking piece only, if I got double fives, I would take the move over the guard. Because the sidestep and the blodge makes him makes him better at his job. And then you can do the natural one turn. I strongly suggest you don't build a catcher and then pigeonhole him into the one turn scoring only threat, because that piece is only useful on offense and really only useful for the one turner. He can't really do anything else, and he's going to bloat up in TV, and he's just going to unnecessarily increase your team value. But if you wanted to have a natural one turner, or not a natural one turner, if you wanted to have a pure one turning threat, you would go sprint and then sure feet and then sidestep. Sprint, sure feet, sidestep. You would take the agility. You would not take the strength. You don't need it. You would take the move. 100% we take the move on that piece. I love move. I take move on my catchers all the time. I often skip my double fives for move. If I have no move 9 piece, I will take a move 9 piece every single time. Like I said, I do not suggest you build this piece for sprint, sure feet, all that stuff, because then he's really only good at one thing. But if your team is kind of complete and you have everything you need, it's okay to have one. It's okay to have one. And the last piece we will talk about is the linemen. Linemen are only 50,000. These pieces are awesome. Humans are a great fouling team. They're not great as undead, for instance, or anybody with zombies, or even with rotters if they're 40,000 pieces. But they're only 50. They're not expensive, and they're move 6, the great stat line for fouls. So it is okay for these guys to become foulers, man. They're cheap and replaceable. As a human team, you run so many positionals on a human team. My personal human team, I run four blitzers, 3 catchers, a thrower, and an ogre. I don't use the thrower on defense, but so I often only have 2 to 3 of these guys on the line, and I make sure they take hits and they die constantly. It is okay for your linemen to die. That is what their job is. You will, if you're doing humans right, you will be cycling through for linemen nonstop. You want to keep these guys as low TV as possible. You don't really want to develop them. Uh, they'll get the odd MVP and the odd injury, and they'll start to level. So it happens, but in general, this is exactly what you want your human lineman to look like. No skills, just let him get punched because you're going to let the other guys do all the heavy lifting. But they are great. They're cheap and replaceable. You want to have at least a 2-person bench as a human team, at least a 2-person bench, sometimes 3 because they're not expensive. And you're going to want to foul heavy, and you're going to get hit a lot. You're going to because you can't really get away. So if you're losing the stand and fight game, you're going to need linemen to step in and replace your losses. There's really there's really 2 to 3 line buildups for humans if you're gonna build your human, and you can totally build them if you give them block, and then they're kind of it gives you some more versatility. I don't do that because I carry so much TV. I carry all my TV and catchers and blitzers, but you can build and give them block, and they're kind of okay. If you want to be like a hold the line, I'm gonna put you on the line of scrimmage. You're gonna hold that line. Wrestle and fend are really great skills. The reason you want wrestle and fend is wrestle lets you if on the line when you're on defense and you put your lineman on the line of scrimmage, the other team will invariably put their heavy hitters on the line because they want those free mighty blow hits. If he gets a both down and you have block, then you're both standing up. If he gets a both down and you have wrestle and you wrestle him down, that's going to slow that guy down for a turn because he's got to get back up and he's got to use 3 movement to get up. Right? It's 2 movement to get up, and then the first square he moves is 3. So it makes a huge difference. It slows down your heavy hitters. And of course, Fend does the same thing. If they punch you, they have to stay in place. They can't punch you and then follow you up and make advancements on you. So Wrestle Fend is a super strong combination for human linemen. If you go block first, you're basically going to go on block first because you want to get, you're hoping you get guard later on. If your first double is, if you get your first skill up is a double, get guard, and then you need to move heaven and earth to get that guy enough touchdowns to where he gets block. Because now he's basically, once you get guard here and he gets block, he's basically like another blitzer that you don't need to level. Now you can use one of your 4 blitzers as a hitter as opposed to another guard piece. So doubles, I get guard, absolutely, I get guard, and then I try to get block. If I get a stat up, if I get AG4, or if I get strength, then I'm really focusing on getting this guy block. Absolutely next skill. But generally, I get no skills on my lineman. So, and when I do, my first skill is almost always dirty player, man. Almost always. If it's not a double, it's a normal skill. I will get a dirty player. I love to carry 2 to 3 dirty players. I often have trouble doing that because my lineman dies so fast. Because they're taking all the hits. If you're playing humans right, your humans linemen are taking all the hits, and your dirty players will die. But if you had a bunch of linemen, they all had 1 skill and they all had dirty player, you'd be doing okay, man. It's awesome. I've had 3 dirty players on a team, and you can foul at will everywhere you go. People are scared of you. Especially if you have dirty players, then the wrestle fend guys really make a difference, man. They're really awesome. But as a matter of philosophy, you don't want to carry too much TV in your linemen because you have so many positionals. and you're carrying heavy positionals, you don't want to get linemen. People, you will see kick on linemen. I don't use kick on linemen because I have so many positionals that I never have a lineman off of the line of scrimmage, and kick is only useful off the line of scrimmage. So my kick is I don't put kick on lineman just because then I have to put a positional on the line of scrimmage to get hit because if I want to use my kick. So it's really hard to fit in. I would not get kick. If you get kick on your thrower or somewhere else, or you happen to have a build where you have a lineman with kick, kick is super valuable on humans like it is on most teams. But it's not static. It's not like I'm a undead team. I always want to kick short so that I hit you, or I always want to kick deep to slow you down. You really got to figure out who you're playing. If you're playing dwarfs, for instance, or any slow, heavy bash team, then you kick deep and you try to get around it with your super speed, try to get around the line of scrimmage and harass that ball. If you're playing an agility team like Wood Elves or whatever, Wood Elves, Skaven, anything like that, or even Dark Elves, anybody you think you can outpunch, then you kick short because you want to punch them, you want to get close, and then you can harass the ball even better because all your blitzers are in line. Um, so if you get kick, and I guess that's really strong, figure out who you're playing. If you don't want to get hit or if the team is really slow, make them kick the ball super deep and make them have to go the entire length of the field. Make them protect that guy. Make them if you can if you kick super deep against dwarfs or orcs, for instance, or even chaos, and they have to take these guys that are in the front and peel back to cage deep, and now you can harass that cage back there. It's really hard for them to score, man. Really hard for them to score. So kick is super strong, but I don't get it on linemen. If you happen to get it, that is what you get. Humans, man, get your blitzes first. One thing you need to know when you play humans, humans will break your heart. Humans will 100% break your heart. You will fail a 1 in 9 when you don't want to. You will do a bunch of shit you don't want to do. There is only so far you can take humans. You can make a super competitive team that's built awesome. Like I will show you my REL team who are struggling. I got humans and REL and Big Crunch too. This is my human REL team. You look at this team. This team is fucking nasty. I have my Mighty Blow piling on Pro Killer, who's just MNG. I have my Blodge Firm guard piece. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 guard. I did have 7. I fired my Ogre because he's pissing me off. I have 1, 2. I have 5 dodge. 6 guard. I have 5 Mighty Blow. 4 Mighty Blow. This team is awesome. This team is amazing. This team loses all the time. This season, there's games, and I haven't really played poorly, to be honest, but there's games on humans and you just can't do anything. You literally, it doesn't matter how well you play, because you're strength 3 and AG 3, you're you're gonna lose, um, and it can be frustrating. But it can also be super rewarding when you win with catches, and people underestimate humans all the time. Uh, if you get a winning record with humans, then you're doing a really good job, man. They're fun to play because they hit so hard and because they're so versatile and they can do everything. This guy's a stat freak, clearly. Because they're super rewarding, man. I love playing humans. I absolutely love it. However, if you are going to be in an eternal league where you're gonna be running that team for a long time and you want to be super competitive, like you really want to try and win the league, I don't suggest humans. Um, Humans are a lot of fun, man, and I strongly suggest everybody play humans at least once. Like give humans an honest, strong. Maybe do a CCL run with humans, whatever. They'll teach you a lot about the game. They're fun to play. You'll get sucked into them, and then you'll be on a human train for a while. But there's just times they just can't do. They just can't do what you need them to do. You can see in my catchers. He went. This guy, like just I was talking about, he was gonna be my sacker. He went wrestle first, got the double. I went guard. Absolutely get guard. You need these humans, and then strip ball, so we can go back into his list. This guy, he got guard first, and then I was gonna get him blodge because once he gets guard, you want him blodge, you want him on his feet, and then he rolled a movement, and I had no move 9 at the time, so I absolutely needed that, so I took the move 9, and now he's got block. So you can kind of see, right, this guy, disposable Dave, I needed guard, so I got guard, I got mighty blow. His next skill will be tackle. I only have 2 tackle on the team and 1 more. Hands of Stone is kind of unusual because he's got so many stat freaks. He can attack the ball on his own. He would probably get tackle in this instance instead of strip ball because I already have a strip baller. Blodge Firm guy. This is your traditional killer. Mighty Blow, tackle, piling on pro. That's all you need. If he got doubles, he would get the jump up. If he gets another skill, it could be Juggernaut. Juggernaut would be fine there. It could be. It would probably be Juggernaut actually, if he got a normal skill. I really don't know what else I would get there. Juggernaut lets you attack wrestlers. Um, yeah, Fend, I guess, if you want to keep him alive. Of course, he wants doubles jump up. He's basically done at this point. He doesn't really anything else after this. Oh, you can get guard. Always get guard. Guard's always strong. And then Benny the Bat, you can see he was Mighty Blow Tackle too. He got Blodge, so I got guard, and we could stand firm next. Or dive and tackle. So that is humans, man. Be prepared for some heartache if you play humans. Super rewarding when you win a game as humans. It feels like nothing else because you won a game and that people think you should not have lost. People always consider the humans an underdog. If you like playing the underdog, I love playing the underdog. Um, if you like playing the underdog, then humans are absolutely the way to go. And they're flexible, man. They can win more games than you think. That's all I got. That is the in-depth series. That is Undead, Humans, and Dark Elves. Those are the three teams that I play the most, that I am the most familiar with, and I am the best with. I have considered doing some other in-depth, maybe on Orcs. I could do Skaven probably. I pretty much know every team pretty well. Every team that's in the game currently, I know pretty well. I can speak intelligently about them. There are enough differences from between High Elves and Dark Elves that I really wouldn't do a High Elf one, and I would not touch a Wood Elf one. I've only played 9 games as Wood Elves. But most other teams I could do. If there's interest, I'll do it. If I get any feedback, I got great feedback on the first two. This is Humans in Depth. This will probably be the least popular one because it's the least popular team. Um, but yeah, that is in Death, man. I hope you guys enjoyed the series. And good luck out in the pitch. Legendary Edition beta just dropped, so I'm going to do some work and I'm going to go get that bad boy. Thank you for watching, guys. See ya!